Okay, so for my drawing, right, I'm going to select from my sketch my hardest angle. So for me, my hardest angle is going to be this 3/4 view right here. So I'm going to prop it up on tape so that I can get the right angle. So you can do whatever you need to do to be able to see it at the angle in which you need to draw it, okay? You're also going to have to use your best judgment to figure out what is your hardest view, okay? So what you're going to do is we're going to draw either smaller than life or bigger than life, okay? So I need to maybe do a little bit of comparison. Maybe what I want to figure out first is how big I want to draw the head. So if I'm going to draw the head, let's say I'm going to make it like 2 inches wide. Let me grab a darker pencil so that you guys can see it, right? If I'm going to draw my head 2 inches wide and this head here is only 1 inch, that means that this is going to be twice as big. From the angle that I have it, it is 1, 2, 3, about 4 heads wide. So I'm going to use a unit of measurement to help me compare the sizes. And so when we are in school, we have these mannequins and I use the heads to kind of measure proportions. That will help you a lot to kind of decide how big is the head compared to the body. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course it went off the page, so I'm going to have a little tick mark there, okay? So then another thing I can do is I can find an angle. So I'm going to use my pencil and find the angle in which this bug is going back into space. Okay, so some of us had cars and things like that. Draw it lightly, right? Draw it lightly. And so I'm going to go ahead and draw my angles back. And then once I have kind of some of the basic parts measured, and I'm going to remeasure as I go, I'm going to start drawing in basic shapes. So I see a lot of people not looking at the screen. This is a visual class, so this is something that happens in class. People hear my voice, but they don't watch. Honestly, it's more important to watch than it is to listen because we are drawing and we have to look and observe. So I shouldn't say I want you to listen to, but it's really important that you pay attention and look, okay? So the head is tilted. So maybe I want to draw in the tilt of the head, and then I can start to go in and draw in the basic shapes. So like the head shape is kind of like a triangle from the view that I have here. And then I'm going to draw the segments as they kind of go back into space, right? And I keep it really light because I'm just working on proportion. I can measure and go, oh, that's about right, because that's the segment of the body is about another head wide, right? And I can just start to draw in where things are going to go. I see less of this part than I do that one, right? Once I have the basic shapes and proportions in, I want to pay attention to like negative space, and I want to pay attention to where things line up. So it's really important that I look carefully at it. For my bug, this is the one I started earlier, I'm going to start close and work farther away. This 3/4 view is probably for everyone going to be the hardest view if you have one of these. So start up close and work towards the back, paying attention to where things line up. So like I drew on kind of the basic shapes of the legs. This other leg is coming from this part of the thorax. It comes out and then it overlaps with this other leg and sticks out. So I really want to pay attention to where those things are lining up, right? Where the other leg is coming is from like the body, and I'm going to look at the angle. It's really short, it angles up, and then it's really long, right? So I've got to pay really close attention to how much of the object I actually see, right? Where the negative space is. And then the last thing you're going to do is your fine detail. So once you start having your proportions in, you can go in and start cleaning up and getting rid of extra lines, extra smudges, extra things, because this is what we're gonna use to practice our line weight eventually. So we're gonna have to figure out how we're going to do this thick to thin pen weight to kind of make it look like a cartoon or something that's animated. This is something really common in like graphic novels, illustration. This is all we're gonna do to this one. It's just gonna be black and white at the end, okay? So we're gonna need a nice clean image to practice with, okay? But we also just need to practice drawing because I don't wanna jump onto the good paper until we have practiced it a little bit, okay? So that's what you guys are focusing on. All of your notes are on the screen, right? So all those pointer notes that I had written in the marker are right here under number 3 for you. Questions or concerns?